Good morning, everybody. Several of you were seem to be having problems publishing your Mobirise website as well as Lesson 7. Let me go over both to make sure that you understand what I want. Mobirise website is self-contained, and that you should be using Infinity Free to publish. Likewise, the lessons that we're doing, I'm only having you publish lesson 7. And if you successfully publish lesson 7, then I presume you have just done lesson 1 through 6, because they're all, each lesson is sort of built on the last. So I'm assuming that you've done lessons 1 through 6 when you publish lesson 7. Okay, so if you have another host that you want to use instead of Infinity Free, be my guest, but it's the one website that doesn't charge for their service, at least not at the moment. We used to use 000webhost.com, but their free FTP service isn't available now. So with that in mind, let me go ahead and get started with Mobirise. So the first thing with Mobirise is that you need to make sure that you have a folder where you're saving your file. And with mine, let's see if I can find it here. Hold on here. Mine, if I go into my documents and I scroll down to my name, Kirk, and I look at web files, and I have one for this one now that would be considered my old Mobirise website. So here is Mobirise 2021 old. That's the folder where this is going to be saved and published. Now, so that you have to know and remember where it is. You can name the folder whatever you want. It's really not important. Now, before you publish it, and meaning to upload it to your host, you need to publish it locally. Mobirise does offer a service, and a couple of you have published your Mobirise website using it. But the problem with it is that you have a big ugly banner ad across the top. And so, I'm giving everybody credit for those of you who are using the Mobirise service. When you pay for their service, then that banner goes away. But there are, as I said, there are free services. You don't have to pay. So to do that, to publish it locally first, you go to Publish Here, okay? And it's suggesting that we go to the site settings. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. I can either browse now for the local folder. This is where you would publish Mobirise when you click that, or you can use FTP. I am going to use FTP, but I'm not going to use it through Mobirise. So let me go ahead and click site settings. So now if I go under here and we look at where it says site files, if I want to export those files, I need to find that folder, okay? And make sure that that is where it is published. Now, I've already done that, but let's go ahead and do it again. And there's a chance that mine may get goofed up again today. So we'll see what happens. So let me go back to documents. Let me go, I don't want Adobe. I want Kirk, and I want my web files, and I want Mobirise old. That's where I want that to be opened and published. Notice that it's publishing it. And when it does, it should automatically open it. Okay, and it looks like it is. It's publishing in progress. It should open in a browser. Just so you can see locally, it's not published, it's published locally to see if it works. So it's saying it's publishing, it's initializing, it's going through the motion. Okay. So it says it was successful. Okay. So let's try that also another way. I'm going to go ahead here and I'm going to click, move this around to see if I have, I'm going to select this one now. And I'm going to go ahead and publish it from here. And I'm going to see if it publishes it and opens it in a browser, because that's what it's supposed to do. Come on, come on, come on. Kind of sluggish. It should go much quicker than this, especially when you select that you only want changes to be published and nothing else. But it publishes everything. So there we go. It did. It put it in. So here we have, this is published, but it's published locally only. And you can tell it's published locally only because if you look under this address here, it says file, : with 3 backslashes, user. And this also tells you where it's located. Kirk B. Miller, or Kirk Brian Miller, documents, Kirk, web files, Mobirise, old. So that's where it's going. And so we can test it here now. We can go ahead and I can select, see if it works, about us. And I can go to portfolio. And I can go to contact and I can go back to the top and I can use the little arrow. And this is where you test, 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 test. Okay, so now we're ready. Since it does work locally, this is where we publish it on our free service. So what I have done is I have, let's go back. I'm going to bring this back down here. Here we go. I'm going to go to, is it here? I just had it listed. Yeah, so it should be on Firefox. So home, no, wrong. I just had it all prepared for all of you. Let's see if it's here instead. I apologize. Where did it go? No, I don't want GoDaddy signed in. I want it to be oh, come on. My apologies. Let me pause for a second. So let me pause. Let me move this up. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pause the recording for just a second. So now what I've done is I've gone to Infinity Free. And if I go to the home page, you'll notice that I have 2 accounts set up for my websites. This one, if I go to manage this one, and I scroll down and I click on this, this is where I have published lesson 7. Okay. So let's go back again. I'm going to go back and I don't want to replace that. When you publish lesson 11 or 12, then that's where you'll replace 7 with this one. So it's the other one here that I want to manage. And when you manage it, there's a couple of things that you want to do. Okay, let's publish it through File Manager first, through here. Now, if I click right here, it will show me that I've already published this. And you can see that it works really nicely. You can see up here that I have Art196 Spring 2021 .infinityfreeapp.com. Okay, and why it puts that little next, I'm not sure, but let's do that without it, and it looks just fine. Everything works. So how did I get the one that I publish locally up here. That's what we want to do next. So let's go back here. There's two ways that we can do that. One is that I can take the username and the FTP password and the host name, and I can use Dreamweaver to do that. So I will show you how to do that in a moment, but let's use their service first, just using cPanel. So what I want to do is I want to go to File Manager, and it should take me here. Now, note the sign here. It says, do not upload files here. Okay, I don't want them to be here. So where you want them to be is in htdocs. So if I click on that and I select open that folder, you can see that I already have the published files for that particular website. I have my assets folder in my index.html. And it says files for your website should be uploaded here. That's where they go. So just to show you what happens here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select these and I'm going to delete them. I'm going to run the risk of deleting all of these to have to publish them again. So I'm right clicking on here and I am deleting the files. Now I'm going to go back just to see what happens here. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to see what it looks like. Now notice it's still there. That's because it's in cache. So don't be, think that it's still there because it's not. So what I need to do is I need to go to history and I need to clear recent history. So I'm just going to, in the last hour, I'll go ahead and I'll clear all of that. Now let's go ahead and refresh this again and see what it does. There you go. So my website is no longer there. So let's go back and let's publish it again and see what happens. So I'm going to go to File Manager. And I'm going to go inside htdocs, make sure that that's open. And now what I want to do is I'm going to use the upload feature here. So this is the put and this is the get. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put, and what I want to put first is my index.html. So I'm going to upload a file and that's it. And now I have to go back to my root folder. So remember, we go into docs, we go into Kirk, we go to web files, and we go to, where is it here? It is, there we go, the old one. And here's the index.html. So I will select it and I will open it. Okay. And now it's transferring the file, and there it is, index.html. The next step now is to upload the folder. Folders and files are separate or loaded separately or differently, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and select the folder, and hopefully it will take me back to the last place that I want. And it's in Mobirise 2021 old. And now I select the assets folder, the whole folder, and I want to upload that. And that will take a couple of minutes to upload because there's a lot of content that they put in the assets folder to simplify everything. So we sit and we wait and we cross our fingers, because sometimes with Mobirise, there is a disconnect going from local to remote. Now, it works perfectly with their server, which it should. That's what they're selling, is their product, but it should work with any host. And that's important, because after this assignment is done, then you're not going to have that option to use Mobirise. You're going to be using, with the lessons and your own personal website created in Dreamweaver, you'll have to use an alternative source, and that's going to be Infinity free. Or if you want to purchase a domain name and work with a host that you pay for, like GoDaddy, it will cost. So you can see that I'm halfway there. It takes, a little bit of time to upload all of these files. And then I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that it works, because sometimes it doesn't. And you have to be tenacious. You have to just delete it, try it again. Sometimes at the last one that I just changed over the weekend, it took a little while, but somehow it fixed itself. And I don't know why or how that happened, but it worked just fine. But somehow the Mobirise code, the way that they had created the pages and some of the interactivity wasn't, reading properly. And that may be what some of you experience. So there we go. There's the assets folder. So the next step, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back to here and let's see what it looks like. I'm going to click here and notice nothing. So let's refresh. And there you go. I had to refresh to get that out of cache, and now it's uploaded. And ta-da, it works. Okay, I can go to my portfolio. I can click on a file, and I can play it, and I'm good to go. And you can see that it says Art 196 Spring 2021.infinityfreeapp.com. And then let's get that next out of there, just for the heck of it, make sure that it continues to work. There we go. Okay. So again, you test it again, go through all of it, and make sure it works. So that there again, that's another way to make sure that this works. Okay. So the next way, any questions so far? This is probably the best way to do it. Sometimes Dreamweaver has an issue publishing this, but so far, so good. So let me put this aside. And let's go back to Infinity Free. And now, remember I said for the FTP username, you have to click in here. Come on. Let me refresh this page just to make sure that it's working properly. There we go. There you go. Highlight the whole thing, the password, and copy it. And then we're also, or you can write it down, highlight the whole thing, and I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste it into Dreamweaver in a minute. So I've already done that ahead of time, but I'm going to slide this over now. And I'm in Dreamweaver. Now, can everybody still see this? Yes, I hope. Okay. Okay, now notice it says the file has been modified outside of Dreamweaver. Do you want to reload it? I'll just say sure. So it recognizes that something was up. And you can see that my page, again, what I need to do in Dreamweaver now is you need to go to site, and because I've already created a site for this, I'm just going to go to manage sites, but you're going to have to go to new site. I'm going to go to manage sites, and you can see that I have one for this spring semester. It's Art 196 Spring 2021 Mobirise. So I'll double click on that. That's what I named it. And now you have to find the local root folder. So I click here, and it should take me, there you go, Mobirise old, and there's the root folder. So you have to make sure that that is linked. So I'm going to select that. Then under advanced settings, local, for the image folder, I'm going to click here. Okay. It's going to take me into images, but notice that it's inside my root folder is an assets folder. Contained within the assets folder are lots of different folders. I want the image folder, and I want to make sure that it is selected. And I will choose it. The last thing that I want to do now is I want to be able to connect this with the server. So I click here, and I named this one Infinity Free, but where you would create a new one would be just click the plus sign here. Okay. And what you will do is, okay, when you collect the new one, I'm going to go ahead and double click on here, is that you'll name it. And I just named it Infinity Free. You will be connect using FTP. And remember I said where you copy and paste these 3 items. Here is the FTP address. It's ftpupload.net. That's what they're using. Here's that username that they assigned to me. And here's the password that I copied and pasted. Now, with most other hosts, you can name your own password and you can name your own username, but they assign one to you, and I don't think you can change it. So the next step is to test this to make sure that it connects to the host. And that's what you want to see. If you don't see that, then you're going to have to go back and test it again and again and again, and maybe create a new account if it doesn't work. So Dreamweaver connected to your web server successfully. That's what you want. Get a big thumbs up on that. So I'm going to go back again and I'm going to save it and I'm done. Boom. And that's all we see here. So similar to how we uploaded the files for lesson 7, this is what we're going to do here. I'm going to go ahead and at the top, I'm going to make sure that I have the files tab selected. And I'm going to click on this little folder in the upper right-hand corner here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and reconnect and see what it, let's see what it sees. It's retrieving the information. And you can see now, by default, it normally comes up like this. And remember, you have to put the files in the htdocs folder. So I'm going to twirl down. And you can see I have the assets folder and I have my index.html. So let's go ahead and do that again to make sure that this time this one is working. I'm going to delete this file. And I'm going to delete the assets folder. It's going to ask me, do you want to do that? Yes, I do. And let's test it again. Let's clear the cache for the past hour. Let's check the our website again and make sure that it's cleared. And then we're going to upload it again and make sure that it works. And again, because there's quite a few files for it to delete, it takes a few moments. And unfortunately, you know, if you have a bad internet connection, sometimes it will time out, and that's not good. We would have that problem when we were offering the class, this class at Cerritos. So you don't want that to happen. You want to make sure that, you know, you have a strong signal and everything works just fine. Okay, it's deleting everything. Then I'm going to go back again to the website and I'm going to clear the cache and hopefully it will go back to that default little screen that they have there. That's what I want. And then we're going to upload it again and we're going to make, hopefully it works. If it doesn't work, then use one of the two or keep trying. Let it sit for a few minutes and then sometimes it will correct it. So it does take a few minutes, huh? And there are a lot of files that it uploads, that Mobirise uploads, that you may not be using, but it's just a part of it. So you can see that these are gone now. Let me swing back here. Okay, and now let's go back again. Let's pull this. Let me bring this down. Let's bring this down here. Okay, let's look at this again. Remember, it's in cache. So what I need to do is I need to go to history and I'm going to clear recent history. And let's refresh. And there you go. We're back to where we were. So now let's upload it again and see if it works. So now what I need to do is I'm in Dreamweaver now, and I'm connected, and that's good. And now what I need to do is I need to start, and you can start with the assets folder or the index, it doesn't really matter. But I'm going to click and drag it on top of the htdocs folder. If it lies outside of that and it's not contained inside that folder, if you accidentally put it in this other folder, your website will not work. It will not be viewed. So now I can take the entire folder and I can drag it on top of htdocs and release. And again, we're going to have to sit and wait for a few minutes. It's preparing to upload it all. And sometimes that's where the problem maybe lies, that sometimes the folder doesn't upload all of the contents correctly. I don't know. It's still a large part, for as long as I've been doing this, there's a large part of this. It's a mystery to me. And part of that happens to be because Tim Berners-Lee, the inventor of the web, chose not to copyright any of it, which is very nice. We don't have to pay him royalties. It's in the public domain, but that's also why there's, it's a little strange sometimes that it doesn't always work in a systematic way, an even way, a consistent way. So, but you can see, here's my assets folder, and it's gradually uploading all those files. I have about half of them up. Well, but that's only part of it, of certain folders. So it takes a bit of time. So even after that's done, there'll be more folders to upload. And then we'll go back again and we'll see if it works. And I'm hopeful that they both work. As I said, maybe if there's time, the last one that we can try is try to use Mobirise's free service. But again, it's not going to work for your lessons, and it's not going to work for your final website, which you need to build in Dreamweaver based on the lessons that we are doing. Yeah, there we go. See, there's more. It's finishing putting up all those files. So FTP, if you're wondering, stands for File Transfer Protocol. It's one of the oldest in Dreamweaver, in web design or in the internet. And it's just a way of transferring files from one computer to another when you have a connection to the internet. So there we go. So again, I'm going to cross my fingers and I'm going to bring this down and I'm going to refresh again. Let's see if it brings it in. And there we go. I lucked out. It works. So I can, click here. And I can click here. And this way, the second way that I just published this in Dreamweaver is how you're going to have to publish your lessons. But what you need to remember with the lessons, that there's way more than just a folder and a file. That you're going to have your style sheet, you're going to have some JavaScript, you're going to have fonts, you're going to have a variety of different things that you're going to need to upload. Okay. And again, you have to make sure that all of those are contained within the appropriate folder. So let's look at that quickly. So I lucked out. Both of these work beautifully. Either system. And it's really very nice. It works really well. The one that I was having trouble with, if I come down here, let me go to my website here. This is, well, originally what I had, and this is what I changed over the weekend, is that if you go to Gallery 934, okay, there we go. Now it just has two slideshows, my virtual gallery and the one with moments, my project here. which is comprised of a bunch of sunset photographs. I can go back to virtual, but it's all kind of condensed. I was having trouble uploading this using Dreamweaver the other day, but now it all works just fine. Okay. So let's go back again to Dreamweaver. Let's move this over a little bit and see what I'm doing. And let me go ahead and let me change accounts. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to go back and let's switch. And I'm going to go to switch to a different account. And this one I want to be Art 196 Spring 2021. So this is the one that I used for all of my lessons. So again, if we go back to Infinity Free, where is it? Oh, is it up here? I've forgotten where it is. Oh, is it back here? Might be back here. That's where it is. So let's switch accounts. Let's go back. And let's pick this one here and let's manage this one and see what's inside here. So again, if I look at the file manager for this one, the one that I've used for the lessons, again, you can see it looks the same as before until I open htdocs. And you can see that there's a number of files that I have in here. There's CSS folder. This is the one with the bootstrap, the fonts, the image folder, the JavaScript folder, and the green styles.css that we created in addition to the index.html. You need to have all of these that are uploaded. These all need to be inside your root folder and connected. If you have sent me a lesson or uploaded a lesson and it's not showing the finished version from here, again, let's go back again to see what that looks like. And if I click here, if it doesn't look like this, and I'm just seeing text and nothing else, but not the images or anything, there's a good chance that the image folder that you used is not located inside your root folder. Okay, so let me close that. Let's go back here. Let's click here and let's, you know what, let's try something a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the latest lesson that we did. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and actually that won't work for us because I haven't connected the pages yet. We do that in lesson 11. But anyway, let me go ahead and show you. Well, let's look at events finished. And I can make this, you know what? I can make this my index.html page. Okay. So remember, the first page that's loaded, even when you complete lesson 7, you need to rename the file or save a copy of it as index.html. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to File, Save As, and it should automatically go inside. Let's go ahead here. Let's see what we have, because that's inside finished. So let's go ahead in here. There's my working file. This is the one that I created. So let's go ahead and save again, because I want to make sure that, and we'll find out if it's working or not. So let's go ahead and File, Save As. There you go. It's inside lesson 9. That's where I want it to be, not inside the finished folder, because we have 2 finished websites contained within the same root folder, and that can present a problem. So I'm going to rename this one index.html. Okay, and I'm going to save it inside the root folder. So we're good to go. And we still have another one. We still have the other one as well. We have our working file, but we also have an index.html now. So now I'm ready to upload this. Okay, So the files that I need, let's go ahead and look at them, is I need several folders in one file. I need the CSS. I don't need the finished files. I need fonts. I need green styles CSS. I need images. I need index.html. And I need JavaScript. I don't need the resources. I don't need the templates. I don't need any of this, the other stuff that they provided for us. I just need that. So let's go ahead and see what we have here. I'm going to go ahead and connect this. And here we go. We're going to connect and see what we have in here. And you'll see that I will be replacing this. So let's go into htdocs, see what I have, and I'm just going to delete them all. And it won't take as long as it did with the Mobirise. There we go. Let's delete them all. There we go. So now one by one, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put them back in here. So let's start. I'm going to go in order here. Let's start with the CSS folder. That's the first one that I need, because if you're missing any of them, it won't be published correctly. So we'll start with the CSS folder. Let's go to the fonts folder. I don't need the finished files. Put that on top of htdocs. Let's go to green styles. This is the style sheet we created. Put that on top of, I don't want that to go in there. I want it to go into htdocs. So to make sure that it's going in the right location. We want to take the image folder and put that up. Put that on top of the htdocs folder. There we go. There's all of our images. There's only 5 of them, which is nice. We need the index folder. And we need a JavaScript folder. You do not need resources. You do not need templates. Templates are used only for local purposes. So now the whole website should be published. So let's bring this back up. And let's go ahead and let's click on here and see what, there you go. Now, not all of it is showing correctly. So let me refresh this and let's see what's going on here. See how our table is not looking correct? So now I need to go back and I need to figure out what I did wrong. Maybe let's refresh this and see if that helps. So yeah, it's not working right. So I need to come back here and see if I missed something. So instead, yeah. So there I need to go back. I need to figure that out. It didn't work. So I assumed that I was using greenstyles.css to make sure that all of this, I may have been using green styles finished for this. That's maybe why the last features here are not working. So what I'm going to do to fix this is, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back here inside. I'm going to go ahead and close this real quick. Let's disconnect this. Let's go back here. And let's go back to our CSS designer. Okay. And I want to go to Green Styles CSS, and I'm going to delete it. I'm just going to remove this as a source. And when I do, oh, I have a couple of them here. That could be part of the problem. So I'm going to remove this one too. So I may have goofed up. That's why it was still, we have another one. It doesn't want to remove it. Wow. So this is wonky too. Let's come back down to green styles. Let me just take the green styles from my root folder and remove it. How much time do I have? I don't have that much time. But anyway, that would be the next step. I want to get rid of that so that I can put it back in again. And it's just not doing that. For example, if I try to remove the bootstrap, let's see what that does. Doesn't want to remove it either. Normally, you should be able to remove these. And I'm not sure why it's not doing it. So let's go ahead and save this change. Let's go ahead and save. Let's try again. Let's go ahead and remove it. No, it doesn't want to do it. Wow. So I have no explanation for that right now, why it's not allowing me to remove it. But, you know, make sure that it all works. And it does. But there is something goofy with it. So it may have been, you know what? Let me go ahead and take the finished files and put those in there just for the heck of it. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to files and see if it's not using that, the finished folder, because inside the finished folder is a finished.css. Okay, you know, green style's finished. And it might be looking for that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring that back up. I'm going to reconnect. And let's see if that is the root of our problem. So I'm going to go ahead and take the finished folder and drag it into htdocs. And let's go back to the browser. And let's refresh the page. No, it's not working for that either. So there's something else that I've done wrong. Everything but that. The final styles that I created for the table are not working. So I need to go back and to check and see what's going on here. Yeah, it's going to take a few minutes for me to do that, and I don't have time to do that today. So then you just have to go back and to figure out, you know, remove some of them and see and put them back in and see if it works for you. So let's try that again. Let's go back to CSS Designer, all sources. Let's try this. See if I can't one more time. Try to remove it. Oh, that's why it says this is locked by the template. So I have to go back and I have to open up the template. So I do have a few minutes to do this. So let's go ahead and open up the template. Let's go back to our files. That's why it wasn't deleting it. So let's go back to files. Let's go back to our template and let's go open my green dream template. There we go. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to go back in the template. I'm going to remove green styles from here. So I wasn't thinking here. So let's go back and let's look at green styles and let's go back and remove it. See what happens. This is what it looks like. when you have green styles removed. You have your, nav bar and everything else is structured, but the images, the color, the really nice modifications that we made in the appearance are all gone. So what I need to do now is I need to add, I'm going to go back, and I don't need to create a new style. I need to attach an existing one. So I'm going to load from and see what I have here. I'm inside my root folder. Here's lesson 9. And I'm going to select greenstyles.css. Okay. I'm going to open it up. Okay. Let's go ahead and save, or save all. Now let's go back to our index and templates. I want to replace it. Yep. Now let's go back to index.html. Okay, and this is working. So now what I have to do is let's try again. I'm going to go back, and now that this is correctly formatted, let's see if it also works for the small screen. And that's nice. That's working too. So everything is working correctly. So now I need to make sure that I go back, and let's go back to files, and let's open this back up. Okay, so I'm already connected. So let's bring this back up, and I'm going to remove green styles CSS to see if that's the problem. So this is ongoing with web design, is troubleshooting to see why things are working and why they're not. So let's go ahead and put green style CSS. Let's go ahead and put it back in htdocs. I'm going to make sure that it doesn't go inside there, htdocs. Okay, let's go back to the browser. Let's refresh. And you know what? I'm having trouble. So I'm going to go to history. I'm going to say clear recent history, because that might be part of my problem. And let's refresh again. And that's what fixed it. Ta-da. So that's the kind of troubleshooting that you're going to have to get used to and to be tenacious. And it's figure out what's going wrong. If it's not styled correctly or it's incomplete, then what happened is that it's loading the wrong version of CSS or the version of CSS that lies outside of my root folder. And so the best thing to do is to delete the style sheet and to import it again, upload the page again, if necessary. And you may have to upload the whole thing and see if it works. So there you have it. That's for both the lessons and Mobirise. I hope that this has been helpful for you. And I'm glad that this at the very end kind of got screwed up and we were able to fix it, because this is all very common in web design. It's not a simple solution. I mean, it is a simple solution, but oftentimes when you're troubleshooting, you're not sure where the problem lies. You can guesstimate. And sometimes, you just have to go back to square one and think about it. Where's your root folder, or all of is your entire website located in that root folder, or all the files linked to that particular root folder? And then upload those files accordingly and then test it. And again, you could see that in the browser, sometimes, it looks like, well, everything is okay, or it doesn't look like it was fixed. You have to clear the cache, because all it's doing is it's reloading the page that it's already loaded. So that's put into kind of a little safe storage space, and you have to clear that out and have it reload it fresh to make sure that that works. Okay, so we've run up to the end of our time, and if there's anybody who's been working and wants individual help, I can do that for just a little bit. I have an important appointment that I have at 11:30, so I will have to cut this short, but and if possible, if you want to meet at 2 o'clock today or on Thursday at 2 o'clock, or we can spend some of our time Thursday morning troubleshooting your website. I'd like you guys to kind of struggle with it first. And I don't use that term lightly, and it is struggling with it. It's with web design, you just have to get used to that. It's a part of just a part of it. And learning to troubleshoot your own website is important, especially if you're building it from scratch. When we work with Wix, it's all online, so you don't have to worry about that. Mobirise, if you use theirs, you don't have to worry about that either. It's all kind of set for you. But you know, in most cases, when you start designing websites for clients, that will not be the case. You won't be able to do that. Hold on here. Just a few more people have shown up here. Okie doke. So let's call it a day. And then if you want to give it some time and try it 2 o'clock, if you're still struggling with it, I have an advanced Photoshop webinar, but no one ever attends it. So we can work with you then. Or if that doesn't work, if a few Photoshop people show up and we run out of time, then we can most definitely do it on Thursday. Okay. So I'm going to say goodbye and good luck with all of you publishing your websites, publishing lesson 7 if you haven't done that yet, and publishing Mobirise. If you want to use the cPanel on, I think that's probably the safest route for your Mobirise. The one that's in Infinity free, just uploading the folder and the file, and then checking to make sure that it works, then you should be in good shape. And I repeat, for the lessons, if you put them up on Google Drive, you're only kind of halfway there. The real test to make sure that your website works is to make sure that it's published. And again, if you can find another free hosting service, or if you want to pay for a hosting service, that's fine by me. But that is the final test to make sure that your website works. Okay. So I'm going to say goodbye. And I will see everybody either later today, or I will see you on Thursday. Okie doke. So I'm going to stop recording and say goodbye. Bye-bye.